Well, welcome to part 2 on Lonnie's TX340. Now that the recoil's working right, we've found some other issues. We'll show you those quick, and we'll show you how we're going to fix them. Hang around. Here we are at the Carb Cooker 6000. Pulling out parts. Look at how murky the water got. All right. So I use this Master Stages cleaner, and I like it. But I do rinse everything after I'm done. Guess I'm going to unplug her here. Let's take a look. Ooh, she looks pretty good. I just got to lift this up. All right, everything looks pretty good. So these are the old Polaris zinc carbs. They're never going to get shiny like aluminum, but, you know, a lot better than when they went in. All right, so these old Polaris round slides with the zinc bodies are a bit different than the newer ones in that the main jet goes on in this fitting. There's an aluminum washer that's still in a little bin there that goes around it. And then there's at the bottom of the bowl, this seals to the bowl with that O-ring. And those O-rings go bad all the time. The symptom will be you'll get over 3/4 throttle and it'll fall on its face and be super rich. So if you get an old TX340 or 440 with this style carb and that's happening, your O-ring's junk. It's just like you threw in an infinitely large main jet. The O-ring is a number 007, and you can see the label there. I've been working on this pack of 100 for about 10 years, and it looks like I went through maybe half, which is pretty good considering I hardly ever work on these carbs anymore. But there's your tech for what's up with this O-ring and your main jet on your old Polaris carb.
Carbs cleaned, prepped, and ready to go.
Well, let's get them synced up.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, it's time for Lonnie to sync the carbs. So I want to show you right now the throttle, the thumb she's up tight. So we're going to loosen these and run them both down pretty far so that the slides are at the bottom. That's how we do it here at Nutter Speed Shop. We sync from the bottom up because that machining at the bottom is a lot more accurate than trying to hit the cap on the top. I mean, what if you're back a little bit or they cut the threads deeper or whatever? So Lonnie's going to run them down, and then we'll be peeking through and exercising and getting them to lift at the same time once we have the slack just right. And then after that, we'll set her idle. So I'll let Lonnie do that right now. Hopefully that made sense to you on how we sync it. But we sync from the bottom up around here at Nutter Speed Shop. So Lonnie just adjusted those down. They didn't have to go down real far, but we got a little bit of slack here. And then the next thing Lonnie's going to do is he's going to get those two slides to lift at exactly the same time. And Lonnie's like the expert at this, especially on triples. When he syncs up a triple, man, they get off the line. And carb sync is huge on triples. All right, so Lonnie just synced these, and he's got them. They're sitting on the bottom on the machine surface, and give them a flick, and they both rise. I don't know if that'll come out, but we can see it really easy by eye that they both rise exactly perfectly in unison. So that's what we want. So the next step, we're going to turn in these by feel until they just touch on the slide. And that one just touched. And then we're going to turn each one 2.5 turns up. And then we're going to make sure they still pick up in unison. And if they don't, we may make a slight adjustment on one of these idle screws. But basically, we did that with the idle screws all the way out, all the way on the bottom. So that's how we do it here. And then once we do that, it's synced. All right, Lonnie and Mila and Farley are replacing these gross brown lines.
Yeah.
Look at this thing on the Impulse. So we got some good Gates black rubber hose we're going to put on the Impulse. It's always worthwhile to do that. Impulse line looks pretty sad there.
Yeah, she's nice. She needs to go.
She might have been doing this instead of sending a pulse to the pump. We don't know. Doing all the hose. Lonnie's got his pickup out of the tank. And we'll show you the standard precaution we do on these old tanks. We just put a worm clamp on the inlet, and that'll keep the tank from splitting while you're tightening that fitting down.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll put some brand new tubing on that. That looks like Tygon, and Nutter Speed Shop doesn't use Tygon. All right, I'm checking Lonnie's chain case fluid, which I suspect most people know how to check it on these old ones, but you take out this bolt down here, and you just dribble some in up there, and it's spill to fill, or fill to spill, fill to spill. So I'm just going to squeeze up some lube. Any day now. Ooh, boy, she's low. You didn't drive it, so there it goes. So you just fill her up until she dribbles. I usually let it dribble for a while, because if it's over full, then it's going to leak and you're going to think you got a big problem. So we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes, let it dribble out. Then I'm going to put the screw back in, put the rubber plug in, and call it good. And we pulled the crank drains, and what do you know? A ton of fuel in there. Let's see what happens this time. All right, this little mess here is a life lesson. Lonnie over-tightened the fitting a little bit and split the tank. So that's JB water weld with a hose clamp. We've already pressure tested it. It's set up. It's going to be okay, but life lesson. Don't wreck your really nice tank. All right, well, that's a wrap on part 2. I'm going to say the performance was a little disappointing there.
Yeah, she was bogging out pretty bad. You could kind of tell just on the way it was trying to launch. It kind of pulled in slowly. So yeah, there's something going on there.
It was the classic junk secondary. That's what it looked like to me. So we're going to go through the secondary in part 3, and we're also going to fix that hang idle. I don't know if we even showed it on the video, but it's got a wicked hang idle, and we think one of the carb boots has got problems. And we will end up pressure checking the motor just because we're going to do the carb boots.
Yep, might as well.
Yeah, so don't forget to like this video, leave us some comments, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. If you like what you're seeing and you want extra videos, behind the scenes videos, some pictures of works in progress, check out my Patreon page. That's up in action, and I'm posting on that a couple times a week at least. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the trails.
See you on the trails, folks.